Hi, this is Mr. Lieberman, and we are going to talk about the regions of Texas. That is right, a little review. So we're going to start right here. And who remembers what this is called? This is called what? That's right, this is the mountains and basins. So draw some. That's funny. Okay. When you draw, you just doesn't always act the way you want, but draw some mountains. Okay, up here, and the further north you get through here, the more mountains you get. Ooh, I'll do a triangle mountain. Watch. Ooh, let's see if it works. Yay, mountains. All right. And then remember, this part is called the Great Plains. And notice it doesn't actually cut off right here in the panhandle. This part of Texas called the panhandle. It goes beyond those flat lines. And the Great Plains, goes all the way to Canada. Okay. Remember the mountains and basins, it's in the west. And then this part, the Great Plains, is north. And then we have the North Central Plains. And that's where Fort Worth is, right about there. And then on the other side, we got Dallas, okay? And we are in this coastal plains region, coastal plains. First of all, I want you to remember, this isn't the best drawing of the four regions. In here, it gets a little wacky, and up in here, it does too. So we're going to transfer over to this drawing. You'll notice I already put the mountains there, and look at the spike. Ooh, it hurts. So anyway, we're talking about West Texas right now, and the main things you need to remember about the mountains and basins in West Texas is, first of all, it's in the west. The second, there are mountains and basins, right? Mountains and basins. The mountains are the tall parts, the basins are the parts in between. And secondly, you need to remember that it's hot and dry. Now, if you get up here, now that doesn't look hot and dry, no, because it's in the mountains. And what I'm trying to show you here is that if you go north from here, that you end up in the Rocky Mountains. This part is New Mexico, but if you go further north, oops, don't look at that yet. Okay, if you go further north, you end up in these wonderful snow-capped things in Colorado in the Rocky Mountains. All right, here we go. Now, but what you get down here, in especially the south part of the mountains in basins, you get cacti and you get creosote bush. Cacti and creosote bush. Doesn't that look hot and dry? That's the point. Well, what kind of animals live there? All right, so in the north, in the mountains, you get a lot of deer. And you get those guys called cougars. All right. By the way, if you are ever driving somewhere and a cougar jumps in your car, you just let him drive, okay? All right. Next, we have bears. So you have the deer, you got the cougars, and you got the bears. That's in the mountains. But if you go further south, where it gets more deserty, you have these guys. They're called roadrunners. You will see them here also in this area. And you get these wonderful guys called snakes. I'm not exactly sure what snake that is. I was going for a rattlesnake, but now that I look at it, I'm not sure if it's a rattlesnake. Okay. Here's a slightly different look, and notice the two major cities, El Paso, Fort Davis. Again, this is in the west. It points west. See, it's pointing west. All right, now let's switch to this map where we can see some interesting features. One is you can see the peaks, the mountain peaks, and where they are. Mount Livermore sort of in the middle of the region. And at the very north, you see the Guadalupe Peak in El Capitan. Okay? Or El Capitan. I'm not sure how to say that exactly. We'll look it up. Okay, now, and again, major city. El Paso, huge city right there. Fort Stockton, another one. But what I want to show you here is the Rio Grande River. It starts up in New Mexico, comes on down through this place called Presidio. We'll learn more about that word as we study. It's still the Rio Grande. It's still the Rio Grande, and it goes around. It's coming this way. Now it turns. It makes a big turn. This is what we call Big Bend. Okay, Big Bend, and then it goes further south. But look at this coming through right here. This is called the Pecos River. And this when you get over the Pecos to this side, there's a part in Texas you're going to hear the word Trans-Pecos, and that's the Trans-Pecos on that side, okay? So we got the Pecos and we got the Rio Grande River. Remember this, not a lot of water in this area, but they have petroleum, natural gas, clay, copper, and sulfur. Who really wants sulfur anyway? Okay, next. All right, there's one more thing I want to show you real quick, and that is, oh, there it is. That's what Big Bend looks like, at least part of it. Here we have the Rio Grande River. Here's one place where it's pretty shallow, easy to walk across, right? But this is Big Bend. Very beautiful. Lots of people like to visit Big Bend. So how do you think, this is a big question I want you to think about. How do you think native people lived there? How did they survive in all this? Well, the Rio Grande helped, didn't it? What else? Okay, Mr. Lieberman, right now, push pause and let's think about this.